I then got a part with Nandita Das's film called Manto opposite Nawazuddin Siddiqui, which ended up going to Cannes. And a lot of directors and producers saw that. And that was different because I was playing Bollywood superstar from the 50s, Shyam Chadda.
Is he based on anyone?
Yes, the real Shyam Chadda. He had like 3 or 4 really amazing hits and then unfortunately died in a horse riding stunt when he was like touted to be one of like the top 3 at the time. But for me it was like the lure of like just acting with Nawaz because he was doing amazing stuff at that point. Off the back of that came a film called Chhichhore with Nitesh Tiwari, who had just done Dangal, and then 83 with Kabir Khan. And so I was very fortunate in a very short span of time to pack in these like amazing directors and co-stars. Crime drama with Mardaani, there was a biopic with Manto. 83 was sports biopic, Chhichhore was a fun. So Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein is interesting because I've not done romantic leads before and this is a love triangle, and it's interesting because...
Forced marriage, right, if I remember.
There's a politician's daughter who's obsessively in love with my character and I love someone else. And the reason to me it was interesting is because in our films, whenever you've shown obsessive love, it's always a guy lusting after the woman and then that is romanticized. Here it was like gender reversal. It's very tongue-in-cheek and it's an ode to sensational, dramatic 90s writing, which is why the title of Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein.
Cyrus says, I'm wearing my dirty shirt, but I'm very privileged to meet a young man, much younger than me. He's already said offline that I watched you on when I was young and all the usual things. मेरे को गाली दिया. Senior को. This is a reverse ragging that happens.
Right.
So
I look forward to it. नहीं मैं गाली बिल्कुल नहीं दे रहा था. What I was saying
is... Actually, it's not negative also. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, what I was saying when I walked into the room is I feel like I'm chatting with someone who I've known for a very, very long time, but we've just only met. Physically only met. And the reason for that is Can I say this? I grew up watching you, Cyrus. Mostly Malaika on your side, but
thank
also...
God. Beta, not that I'm anti-woke or something, but thank God.
but mostly Malaika, but also,
I used to get,
you.
By the way, this is Tahir Raj Bhasin, if you don't know.
Nice to meet
a
you.
good anchor would introduce him first. We're just talking like that.
But we're doing Cyrus Says, so yeah.
But coming back to Malaika, when I was working with her, all the guys, my guy friends, used to ask me what she like. It was a horrible thing for me. Yeah. Because 2-3 दिन के बाद, as you know, as an actor, after some time, they're just like friends, right? Because you're meeting all the time. So there's just no, in that sense, that kind of chemistry. So I was getting really irritated because she was like one of the lads now, like guys hanging out. That's what we did.
But it was crazy, and it was just like this really wacky combination because you'd never expect like this
beautiful woman
me in like her iconic dresses, and then you would break all of it with like one-liners, which would be amazing.
And I would wear her dresses in the breaks.
Would you? Now we know the secret.
In the crew.
Now we know the secret.
Both borders are the crew, as you can see here. Yeah. But yeah, she's great to work with.
Yeah.
I must, big shout out to her. Fast, quick, no tension, and she's get ready really quick. Which if you work with ladies, no disrespect, but kabhi, and you know this as well, they may take a little longer for hair and makeup. Yeah. And you may be waiting for a long time. But Malaika is super fast. Yeah. Very confident in her looks and all that. Yeah. So I'm sure I'll put him to sleep.
No. You're talking about Malaika's looks. I've gone into a thought bubble back to the 13-year-old me in the 90s.
Oh, nice,
that's where I am. Yeah.
Okay, but let's go back to your life now.
Sure.
So we did some research of Air Force background.
Yes, Air Force background. Yeah.
And दो भाई Air Force में या
my dad and my granddad were fighter pilots in the Air Force.
Pilots.
And my younger brother is a commercial pilot.
Fair.
Yeah. And what that means.
That's the most glamorous thing, no? Fighter pilot.
It is, yes.
It's the most masculine thing you could do, actually.
But again, because you were talking about how the mind gets used to it, when you're growing up, everyone around you, all the uncles in the squadron are all just 24-year-old fighter pilots flying jets. And so you just think that it's like everyone's dad does this. So you don't grow up with anything around it until the time you step out and say, oh, you know what, that's what...
But have you been in these MiGs and all those?
I have, yes. I mean, I've only sat in the cockpit. You're not allowed to take off in them.
But you couldn't take a round?
No, you can't.
Beta, ye hai Pakistan. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem because the amount of G-force you pull, you could go into like cardiac arrest. Yeah. So it's physically very strenuous. But super upbringing because you grow up all over India. So I've grown up in like Allahabad and Chandigarh and Gwalior and in Wellington in Tamil Nadu, Delhi, and then finally Bombay.
Wow, not bad.
Yeah.
That's why I've been saying that all kids should be Fauji kids. Because you become more Indian in that sense. Now you're forced to become Indian.
You become more Indian.
The region or the...
Yeah, and when I think about it now, like it's sort of subconsciously you've been acting for a very long time because that thing of having to fit into a new crowd, changing schools every 2 years. So you're sort of...
So you guys have that extra confidence, not arrogant confidence, but just real confidence कि जो भी है, कहीं पे भी you'll be able to meld, mold,
exactly.
push yourself in.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, it's traumatic as a kid also, because I grew up like pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram. So every 2 years, you're leaving your friends behind.
Girlfriends?
Your crushes, your girlfriends
My
behind,
God.
and all of that. And then you're moving. But like you said, it gives you a sense of what real India is. And
Although after marriage, sometimes you may not mind leaving people behind.
Yes.
Especially with damn family.
I
You stay there, beta.
I haven't got to that stage, but I see your trauma is coming across.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's we go back a little bit now. So, Fauji background, firstly, why didn't you go in that direction?
For the reason that I was saying earlier, it was just so taken for granted. Only when I left that kind of lifestyle where, and any Fauji kid, Army, Air Force, Navy knows that you grew up with golf courses and horse riding and all of the tennis courts and all of these facilities.
Super lifestyle, there's no doubt about that. And what about the orderly? I love the orderly.
Yeah. So you're constantly, it's a very spoilt existence as well, which is something I realized when I moved away from home for the first time. And I studied film and acting overseas for a year and a half. And when you have to buy your own groceries and wash your own dishes and do all of it yourself, it's just like, ye kya hai ye zindagi? But it prepped me for Bombay. For Mumbai, because I had never lived by myself before, and I don't think I could have done it had I not moved abroad and studied for a bit.
But today you're not doing that.
Today I'm not.
You've got some 7-8 people working for you. A lot of orderlies.
Not 7-8. I've got 3 or 4. But
do you use the word? Is the word used outside Fauji culture?
No, not at all.
I love
Batman and
Batman.
orderlies. Yes,
Nice.
Batman is more army.
Boss, this is almost politically incorrect and also so antiquated.
Yeah.
But still there. I my first exposure to that, we did a Navy ball, met the Navy chief here in Navy Nagar.
Oh wow.
And very nice guy, very sweet, But nobody would eat till he ate. Nobody sat till he sat. These two guys are standing with gloves who open everything.
Yeah.
I was like, boss is living. This is like a king's life. You think of a rich person in Balbar Hill and all, nothing close to the lifestyle and the kind of bhav that you're giving.
And it's funny you bring up Navy, because every time I go back home to Delhi and I meet my dad's Fauji friends, all of them ask me, so beta, where in Colaba do you stay? Because for Navy
Nagariya,
it is Colaba.
that's the area.
I said, no, I stay in Versova.
Which is
so they're like,
one ship
where?
away.
Yeah. Where is that? Oh, okay. Suburbs. And then, it's bad enough that the Sobo
But you've been to
kids
Navy
look
Nagar,
like-
no?
I have been to Navy Nagar.
It's beautiful, it's huge, it's beautiful, manicured, lawns, golf, sab kuch hai.
But now that I think about it, and I'm saying this for the first time, it's very possible that it's just rebellion that got me to do something so different. Because you grew up in, look a certain way, your hair must be cut, your nails must be cut. When you're going to the officer's mess, which is where, the parties and all that happen, you have to be dressed like an officer's son. And I think when I got into theatre groups and I started doing performance arts, it was just so freeing to be like, you could...
So where were you when you first started? Which
I was
city?
in Delhi. I started with Barry John.
Correct, yeah. So you started right at the top in a sense. One of the...
He was, I mean, Manoj Bajpayee, Shah Rukh Khan, Nasruddin Shah, they've all worked in the theatre with him.
Anup Soni was with us recently, yeah.
And so Delhi University has a big theatre culture because you've got college festivals and theatre groups in every college. So that's where...
But dad and all didn't pressurize.
No, there wasn't. Surprisingly, it was. But there was always whatever you're doing, make sure that you've studied it. You have some kind of theoretical backing. But he was always puzzled at what are these.
Also, acting. Aajkal to nahi hai. Aajkal I think that people are much luckier because they take entertainment more seriously.
Yeah.
Or maybe our generation have kids, so we're a little different.
Yeah.
But I think most parents will be worried if you say actor banna hai.
Yes.
The only other thing I can think of is roadies banna hai. These are the two areas of danger.
Big gap there.
Yeah,
but
big gap,
I mean,
although one becomes the other.
Or one becomes the other. Yes. Yeah. But there was support, but there was always go give it your best and just make sure that you've got backing. I think parents, more out of concern, are will you be comfortable? Will you be able to afford a living? Which is a genuine concern. And like you said, today, I think it's a lot more, I compare this to 15 years ago, monetizing entertainment is slightly more approachable.
Bro, there are kids who are half my age. They've got Mercedes Benz and they uncle side mein ja.
Yeah.
The lack of respect. Today's comedians.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. They're so rich. And actors also. I mean, a lot of them make money really quickly. Which in the old days you'd have to be top of the line to do that.
You would.
But here a lot of people are doing well.
Yeah, I think
Sadly.
branding and online culture has
I think
really
internet has
changed
helped a lot. Now the OTT shows that you've got lined up.
Yeah.
See, you guys have so much more options than say 2 generations back. You got features, you got OTT, you got all kinds of things, you got podcasts, television in general.
Yeah, that's actually changed in the short time that I've been in Mumbai. I've been here 10 years, and I remember when I first came, which was not so long ago, you had to send a hard copy of your photograph to a casting director.
Headshot.
Yeah, and now Instagram, it's like everyone's just doing their own thing, and apparently now getting cast off Instagram.
And no one's using the casting couch. यार I feel so horrible about this.
I know. I think
अपना culture, अपना संस्कृति और परंपरा में ये सब है. It's written down.
We must discuss these problems. Yes, yeah.
I was just telling somebody.
I feel I'm going to be cancelled after this.
Listen to me. No jokes. But what if you spend 28 years in the business and not once have you been offered a casting couch?
I think that's reverse discrimination.
That's what, yaar.
Of another level.
The self-esteem crumble iske baad.
So neither did you get the part, nor did you get the offer. So
no, but
it's like,
see, not getting the part is luck is also plays a part. But not getting a casting couch offer means you must be such a horrible.
Yeah.
So tell us your story.
I like the lead-in.
Can you imagine if someone takes Panga when you just call Dad? This is the location.
This is the location. Next thing you know, there's a
city missing. Yeah. All right. So you were in Delhi, Barry John. So obviously you were good at theatre, obviously in school and all that, because you can't just go to Barry John. You have to have some self-belief.
I was, yes. And it was one of those things where academically I was average, sports I was below average, and this was
sports below average?
Yeah. And
so Sunil Gavaskar ban gaya.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. I couldn't hold a bat in school, like to save my life.
Seriously?
So I had to...
But you're a 4G kid. Normally the kids are good at sports and all that.
Basketball, swimming, there was lots of other
stuff. So you
stuff.
were good. You like the unconventional, not the Indian sports, so to speak.
But also never like school captain, basketball team captain, or like, state level player.
Who'll know, yaar. Who's going to send a message?
So
captain.
Yeah, so I was like sports captain in 3 of my teams, and so
it's like this Ranvijay, who's now an actor, Ranvijay, Roadies, Ranvijay, MTV. When he first came, he used to keep telling me about, and he's also 4G background and all that. He used to live in Colaba. He said, I'm very good at basketball. So I thought, ki, yaar, abhi Chandigarh ladka hai, and he's just lagawing left, right, and center. But then suddenly I realized one day we played, and the guy's damn good.
Yeah. And the reason I say not good is because when I was cast for 83 for Gavaskar's part, a lot of the other boys who were cast were Ranji Trophy, state level, and this thing. So in front of them, I was like gully cricket. Ek tappa kha ke garden mein gaya to out. Those were the rules.
But didn't Kabir say that you all had to do some strenuous net sessions and all?
So it was as a result of those. I just looked at it as choreography. I'm going to learn the shots that Sunil Gavaskar plays, like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and did that over and over for 6 months until finally we were on set, and Sunny sir was on set with us.
Oh my God.
That was the acid test of like playing his cover drive like him without a cricket background. But it was a lesson in like if you...
One thing you have mastered, is the close for sure.
Yeah.
But what if when that, and there were shots of, the full, what's it called, a full shot, a wide. Then what happens? Because then you've got to actually have ball sense and bat well and all that.
Yeah. So I mean, the benefit of filming versus playing real sport is that you get retakes, right? So it was the joy of maybe getting it right on the 4th or 5th time. But
this is why I have not done porn. I'm so worried कि अगर मैं perform नहीं कर सकता या कर पाता तो what do we do? How many retakes?
I am so not used to these kind of segues. Like there's a part of me that really wants to contribute to this conversation.
The toughest boys of India. Come on, man.
Second, PR trained for like entertainment media in this thing. But I think you must try porn. Yeah. I think it's
Let's get back. We'll come to 83. Let's go back to your career. We'll come to that this much later.
For sure.
So you're with Barry John. You're doing plays.
Yes.
But you finished your graduation by then?
I during graduation.
Yeah.
And then I finished graduation.
Hindu college?
Hindu, yes. Yeah. I did political science, which has definitely come in handy.
Fighting with the Stephanians and all, you used to have that.
Yeah, they're the college across the road. I look forward to your comments.
Yeah.
But they're the...
No, but for those Mumbaikars and non-Delhiites who don't understand the culture, they are India-Pakistan situation at times when it comes to culture, sports.
Stevens is just slightly more...
sophisticated.
They believe. And they look down on it, and Hindu is a little more grounded in reality.
Ajay Jadeja, Roshan Abbas, this is from my generation that have come out of Hindu college. Lots of big illustrious names, lots of politicians.
Yes.
Imtiaz Ali.
Yeah.
So Baal वैसे ही था.
What's that?
Imtiaz Ali.
I think, way more senior than I am, but I think the old photos I've seen are also...
You're still showing respect because of seniority, is it?
Yeah.
So I was taken to Roshan Abbas's room.
Wow.
When we shot that for MTV, for a show we used to do called MTV U.
Yeah.
This is Roshan Bhai ka kamra and all that. And apparently because, let's say he did very well with the opposite gender. Roshan, when you were young, you're now a beautifully, happily married man with kids.
Yeah. So he was a hostel boy.
He was a hostel boy.
Wow.
Yeah. So all these guys had great stories. Jadeja, Roshan, and I forget names names, there are many illustrious guys,
Yeah,
politicians.
And it's really like it's a campus in the real sense. I was a little surprised. No shade on Bombay. Shade is when you say hate to people.
See, when you come from Mumbai, you cannot abuse us because we abuse ourselves so much. So what can you say?
So it's like genuine. You've got like 7 or 8
Shade
colleges.
सबसे बड़ा तो college campus is St. Xavier's College, which is what parking in Delhi.
Yeah.
Right, for 2 cars.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you talking
So
about? Yeah.
We've got like football fields and basketball courts. And
Hindu
all.
and Stephens are legendary. I'm saying take any.
Yeah.
Take Venki's, take any college in Delhi, and it's just ridiculously big. It's unfair.
Yeah. Since you brought up MTVU, can I switch this around and ask you about your life a bit, purely because I started off with saying that, I grew up on you. This is a bit of a...
I became a Delhi boy because of MTVU.
Yeah,
GNU
that's
campus all the time. My Hindi started becoming, I was like, oh, Cyrus, kya haal hai? What's up, yaar? Come on, let's go this way.
Yeah.
And you rhyme everything.
Yeah.
First time I heard
What
fuck
about
shuck.
the food?
Fuck shuck. Fuck shuck. Oh, fuck shuck. First time I heard it.
But did you appreciate Delhi food while you were there?
Love Delhi food.
Next
I'm a big
level.
Delhi fan, actually.
Yeah.
I can't lie.
So what I wanted to ask you is that did you guys realize you were like a pioneering generation of VJs?
God,
because the
no.
concept didn't exist. Like, and because I grew up
जिनके
in...
पास पैसा नहीं है, जिनके पास भाव नहीं है,
Yeah.
जिनके पास appointments भी नहीं है. We got thrown out of DAV Chandigarh.
Wow.
For example, because we had no permissions. I don't know how we shot here.
Yeah.
When we started shooting Bakra later on, and now when I think about it, we're shooting on the road wearing police costumes with no permission, nothing.
Yeah, but it did look all guerrilla. But it was
But we
hilarious.
didn't have fear.
Yeah.
Now I will never have the. Even if I did my IPS, I won't go on the street.
Yeah, but people have become a lot more camera savvy. They know permissions,
that's
no
true.
permissions.
That's
The
true.
concept didn't
Cops
exist.
are damn sharp.
But what about like so was there like instant fame when like this happened in the
No,
90s?
not MTV. MTV was a struggle because we had not done the distribution that came later.
Yeah.
Actually, what happened in MTV is the distribution made all the difference. Matlab the cable, you remember cable operators and all that?
yeah.
They control the empire. So till such a time as we could patao them and do some deals with them, we were hardly there. Then we got into these bouquets, so we got seen more.
Yeah.
And
like
that-
Love Line and all, I remember.
But that's because of distribution, not because of quality of product. Come on, yaar.
Yeah. No, quality was good. The 13-year-old me disagrees.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah.
Malaika is still such a good-looking woman. And how many years have passed? But I can't say age because they'll get angry.
Yeah.
I'm to a grandfather. I can't say anything about the girls in MTV. Now ladies.
And what about the reverse? Were you? I like how I've just become the host of this
Go
show.
ahead,
guys.
go ahead.
Yeah. So we
very interesting.
can green screen this and make it Tahir Says. Were you as disillusioned as the rest of us were when you saw the decline of like music channels into becoming like these reality show this
See,
thing?
technically we were the first reality show, so it's our fault. Bakra.
Right. No, Bakra
After
was,
which, but it's a
Bakra was
different
fun.
style.
Yeah.
And then Roadies, which overtook everything. And what is that Chinappa show? Splitsvilla. ये दोनों.
Yeah.
ये what should we call? What
Because it
Besharam
legit,
shows.
like we used to wait the whole week for music videos to come
No,
on
that,
your.
they killed
this
that.
thing.
I don't know why they killed that, how they killed that, but
Yeah.
maybe they found that these reality shows just had bigger reach. Yeah, because honestly, even I don't mind watching for a few minutes.
Yeah.
The people are misbehaving. You feel better about your life. कि इतना बड़ा चूतिया तो मैं नहीं हूँ.
Yeah.
That's basically the whole format.
I think that's what the roadie
Yes,
format is. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've done, whenever Chinappa was sick and all, they made me go and do things. I come back feeling like very sad. Because some of the people are so desperate to get into this roadies. And their lives are not good, bro. Tahir, I mean, touchwood, you've had a great background growing up and all, but a lot of people, single parent, drugs in the background, and they're telling you all their life stories.
Yeah.
And Raghu Rajiv looking at them like they're absolute,
Yeah.
so it's not exactly fun.
Yeah.
But desperation, and they get in. I remember in Chandigarh, one uncle came to me when I was leaving and said, please, mera beta ko le lo. He's got great talent. Please, usko ek chance. Because they had thrown him out, eliminated him. And then he caught my hand and wouldn't let me go. I think it was Sector 13. But
Yeah.
yeah. But why were the grandparents, how your father would want you to be a tennis champion or basketball champion and would be maybe pushing you there. It was that level.
How
Ye to
can
sport nahi hai.
how can roadies be the end
And they're
all
thinking this is a ticket up, which is a little scary. Do the maths on the roadies guys, some 105, 110 guys, out of which 4 or 5 have been successful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really low.
Yeah.
What to do? People still want to be. What do you want to? I mean, there's a guy who went 3 or 4 years in a row and always it's the same thing. What do you want to do? मुझे roadies बनना है.
Yeah.
It's like climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Somehow I'll do it one day. Bro, why are we talking about this?
I didn't want to.
We're having such a good time.
Yeah. But
we haven't progressed from Barry John. You've done so many movies and there's so much other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, but just like segueing from that, I think the reason that I find that reality show culture is because fame. It's like instant fame. right? It's like your ticket to becoming.
It's not an India thing. You look around the world,
Yeah,
they're big
for
bosses and all that, whatever
Yeah.
the names of their shows are, Indian Idol, American Idol, whatever.
Yeah.
They're all super, TRPs are much higher than their normal shows.
Yeah.
Normal shows can't compete. End of the day, I think it's just like watching human trash.
Yeah.
And sadly, voyeuristic or whatever you want to call it, that's the way it is. And what market demands, we're following it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is coming from me, and I went into Big Boss, so I shouldn't say anything. Yeah, and that makes Roadies look like a classy show, bro. Yeah, I mean, Roadies is like, you know.
Maybe that's your goal. Is that at every
One
10
day.
years, like just keep like. Yeah.
अरे मुंबई में bike parking भी नहीं है.
Yeah.
Can't even. That's another funny thing. They used to come to the office to pick up the bike after, because there was a Hero Honda deal and all that. And then the actual bike, you have to go to somewhere far away in Maharashtra to get it, and it's only a shell of a bike. Everything has to be fitted. So it was a real punishment to till you get the bike. Like months would pass.
Oh, shit.
It was, we couldn't even take the bike out from
Yeah.
MTV because it was just like a bike ka shell. Engine नहीं था उसमें.
Oh shit! This
No.
I did not know. The fun behind the scenes.
But
of
they
the
all
roadies,
parked there and everybody, I want a bike, I want a
Yeah.
bike. Take a bike. Now what are you going to do with the bike? Stationary bike. Do some aerobics.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. Let's get back to your life.
Yeah. Let's now get back. Yeah.
So I'm just saying that you knew you're talented before you became remotely famous. And you knew this was for you. And you go to be
knew
Barry-
I was talented makes one sound a little conceited.
you know
I
what
knew
I
that
mean.
this was the thing that made me feel alive. Let's just put it like that. Because number of acting coaches and had said that, hey, you're good at this. And that gave me a little more confidence. I was like a shy, awkward kid.
But you went
growing up.
abroad also, no? Beach mein?
I did go abroad, yes. So I finished with Barry John, worked for a year in Delhi at a TV production house.
Where?
This was NDTV.
NDTV?
Yes. But yeah, so I that was my first experience of taking theatre somewhere onto a production where you saw lights, cameras, this is the way things work. And then from there, I went to Melbourne in Australia because I got a scholarship. Studied there for a year and a half, which was amazing because I learnt more outside of the classroom than I did in it. And
You were a
like I
naughty
said,
boy?
I mean, as
Australian? Were you a naughty boy?
I was a naughty boy. I put some shrimp on the barbie. Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah.
So you turned that on, huh? When you're
Yeah,
trying to go on a
yeah.
date. But what were you studying?
Film and media.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was that with so you did 6 months in common with all the writers, directors and DOPs, and then you would take up your specialization, which could be acting or writing or whatever. And it was a year and a half of that. Which was great.
But that's
And no one in Bombay asks you for a certificate or kya padha hai when you get here. But I think it just gives you a sense of like
Confidence in a foreign
of,
country, foreign
Yeah.
people, no contacts, no
Yeah.
influence.
All of that.
Yeah.
So
you have to play all the, I suppose, terrorist roles, doctors roles,
yeah.
all
So
that nonsense.
all of that.
yeah.
Mostly the roles I would get is the waiter in the cafe. So I did a lot of those in the
Which is
student
odd
short
because we run the world now in terms of CEOs of IT companies
We
and
do.
financial banks
Yeah,
and etc.
I loved Veer Das's opening for the recent
Yeah.
Emmy International.
What did he say?
He said, I have an Indian accent and I'm sorry about it. And if you don't understand it, go back to work tomorrow and ask your boss.
Yeah.
And if your boss doesn't know, ask your boss's boss.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like,
Yeah, but that's
thumbs up,
sort of
Veer.
true, you know.
It's sort of true.
Yeah.
A lot has changed though in the past like 10 or 15 years in the way Indians are now
No
classed.
racism now. I don't think you would have. I mean, there might be some subtle racism because you're from a different culture, but
Yeah. No. Oh, you're talking about Australia?
Yeah.
No, I really did not face any when I was there. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I think racism is overdone now. It's dead. I'm just kidding. Don't
Yeah,
send
yeah,
us letters.
again.
There's no such thing.
There will be parts of these interviews where you will see me freeze. Like we'll just
Tahir,
be like,
I had an uncle, he's
yeah.
passed. He insisted there's no such thing as homosexuality. वो नहीं है. There is no homosexuality. It's a made up thing. So one day we were arguing. I was I said, no, there's this men who like men, women like women. It's there. It's not there. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's not there. He actually believed that.
We have a legal team in our agency, right? We do.
No, this is my uncle.
Yeah.
This is my uncle's
Cool.
opinion,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, he's not even alive anymore.
Yeah.
But he goes there, he finds
I
everyone's
know,
gay.
Yeah. Oh shit! We did not just drop that.
Ding
I
dong,
love this.
God, I'm here.
Oh, welcome.
No ladies.
Welcome. Turn around. Yeah. Here's the Vaseline.
Now you're worried about getting cancelled?
Yeah. No, I just checked. We have a legal team, so
You have a legal team. What about us?
it's As
No-
long
no-
as
no
you air
Melbourne.
this episode.
Two Melbourne returned boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all from Aramnagar.
Yeah. No, but there's that generation of people like your uncle who believe that everything on WhatsApp is
amazing,
true is
yeah.
just next
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
No, but it's fantastic that educated people have strange beliefs also here and there. Let's get back. So you went to Melbourne. Did you
did.
perform in any plays or anything?
No,
there?
it was all like student short films and
Oh,
and
nice.
it was so, but like camera, working on film, things that I.
So you did everything yourself also, right? You would learn a little bit of everything.
You would do it so you would pick up the cameras, you pick up the lights, so it would work as any.
Which is a great thing, which a lot of people don't get, that all-round sort of thing. So when you're actually back as an actor, you know what's going on.
Yeah. You realize here, though, Bombay kids sometimes get that because they start becoming ADs at their age of 18 or something like that. So by the time they hit 22, they've already been on a set.
So they can tell that the lighting is wrong, right?
That the lighting is wrong. Yeah.
Aaj kaise?
Aaj bahut badhiya. Full 3-point lighting is going on.
Sir, daru pee ke aa gaya.
Achha.
Okay, so you come back and then you go back to NDTV?
No, I come straight to Bombay to say this is it. This is my moment, and I come here with like the full belief that a 22-year-old can have, that I'm going to come here in 3 months. I'm going to sign a film and I'm going to get my
no contacts.
No contacts. Cut to 3 years later, I'm still looking for work. So it took me about 3 years of Aram Nagar, which is a place in Bombay that people are familiar with.
What a horrible word to use. Aram, there's no Aram.
There is no
Aram.
Haram,
if anything.
Yeah. And verse over, which to me when I first came here sounded like the verse is over. So I was like, that's optimistic.
Where did you stay?
First time when I came here, I was in Bandra on a friend's couch looking for a place to stay, because anyone who comes from outside of Bombay, that's a different ordeal altogether. Because the size of houses you're used to in Delhi versus here, you're paying decent rent. But still, when friends visit you from outside of Bombay, they're like Mumbai. They're like... are you sure, dude?
You can say what you
money?
want.
Yeah.
No politician can bother. Remember, ultimately,
watching
Dad is an Air Force fighter pilot.
Right.
What is this guy with his 5 chamchas dressed in white going to do?
Yeah.
Hey, niche. You matter what.
Exactly.
Just say what you want.
So the house hunting is a bitch. Like it takes you forever. So it took me about 3 to 4 months to find a place, and then I think because again, like we said about the childhood, where you move houses every 2 years.
You're used to that, yeah.
Yeah, you're used to moving, but also very quickly making a place your own. So I think it took me about a year, and then you start feeling...
What is the size of the first house?
The size of the first house was, I think the entire apartment was half the size of the studio we're sitting in. And it was a... First time I've heard of this in Mumbai, where they were like, sea view hai. So sea view for 30,000 rupees.
It's SEE.
Yeah.
So view to dekh sakte hain.
So I'm not kidding. From the kitchen, through the exhaust fan window, you could see the sea. And he told me the sea view. The second thing was, another house I saw, this is not the one I took, but they said ki isme swimming pool hai building. So I was like, 30,000, this is amazing. Like, so I went, and from the window, sure enough, you could see the swimming pool. Until I asked the guy, he said the swimming pool belonged to the other building. You could just see the swimming pool. Wow. So you can't use it. But you can see the swimming pool.
These guys are marketing geniuses, yaar.
Marketing genius.
Swimming pool hai is not... See, grammar is correct.
Yeah.
He's not saying swimming pool aapke liye hai. He did not say that. He said hai.
Yeah.
So he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Wow. So you realize to like...
Can we get this guy on the podcast?
We should.
This guy's a hero. Yeah.
So you learn very quickly to read the fine print.
But going back to Chandigarh and all these big places, you must have sprawling bungalows and big houses.
Yeah, even
orderlies holding your food for you, and then you're
talking about Chandigarh. Even in Melbourne, like the property rates are less than what they were in Mumbai. So I was very surprised, because rent-wise, I was paying the same that you would anywhere in Europe or Australia as a student. But your house sizes, it took a while to get used to that.
My God.
Yeah.
And so then, in this struggling period, how do you pay bills and all? You have to rely on family, or you getting some work here and there?
I had saved a bit because I worked at a cafe in Melbourne for a year and a half. So I saved all of that money and like brought it here. That lasted me for about a year or two. Luckily, YouTube and small adverts had started off at that point. So that sort of sees you through. It's also like, for me, it was a huge shift in culture, because you were talking about Delhi. Just in terms of language, like, we say batti pe ruko in Delhi, and no one says that. They say signal. And batata, aloo is batata, pyaz, mere ko padvarta nahi, and all of these terms are...
Panvati, panoti.
All
these are important words for an actor.
Important, yeah. No, but very quickly on set, because all of the crew speak Marathi. My mom's Maharashtrian. So
wow. You speak Marathi?
I don't, unfortunately. So it's
not at all.
It's because you grow up all over, and it was English and Hindi at home. But my nanny's Maharashtrian. A lot of the families in Pune. So the food and
so you have to carry a cousin with you on set, is it?
I have to. Translator. Yeah. But all of it was very new. Ye is male pe jao. Mala, like
God, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, no one says
that's so
that.
Mumbai, no?
It is very Mumbai. But also there are great things. I've never seen in any other part of the world people queuing up at a bus stop to get onto a bus. And when the bus is full, people stop. And I was like, that's really disciplined. And auto walas
Not always, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Auto walas going by the meter was like new to me. Like,
Again, look at the Bombay boys. Yeah. They're not in agreement, but okay, chalo, theek hai.
Yeah, and so all of it was...
Maybe they know you're a Fauji background, so for you it's different.
Possibly.
For us, it's this, right, boss?
Yeah.
Don't start about auto drivers here in Mumbai, boss. There's not a single fan.
Yeah.
There's not a single fan out here. Yeah. But yeah, so cultural differences, you start finding your feet. And before we take the break, what is the first thing you did?
A film called Mardaani with
So how do you get that?
Auditions. So a lot of people think it was like overnight success, but I had been through 3 years of rejections, of like constantly waiting outside. And Aram Nagar's got this very heartless way of, they will look at the way you look and just tell you you're not fit.
What are you saying?
And yeah, and so just
audition ke pehla?
Audition, so before you get
like rejection, like racism, like
it is racism. You don't look the part basically, and it could be anything. You're too short, your hair doesn't fit the character.
But don't they give you a thing ki we want 15 to 20, male, whatever? They give a description, right?
Oh shit! This reminds me. It would. The messages would say, and in those days there was only text. Shit, I sound old. To say like we want 25 to 30 upmarket looking. So
I know.
It was like so racism on another level. So you would show up. And
what the hell is upmarket looking, but also?
There is upmarket. No, but to me, I was like, if I'm getting upmarket looking, there's someone out there getting down market looking. And that's
hey, Gopal.
Man, he just got married. Don't.
Gopal Dutt, one of our leading actors, an SD boy. We used to cast him only as the, well,
this is
less privileged.
This is so wrong.
One day he told me, he said, boss, मेरे को सिर्फ less privileged roles क्यों देता है?
Yeah.
Because, but also he's the only one who spoke good Hindi and had the slightly north inflections correct, so he had to play all those characters.
Yeah.
So after 10,000 auditions, by which time were you cynical? Were you getting worried?
There's something about like the optimism that you come to Bombay with. If I had to pitch the levels of cynicism, I feel like 10 years later, it's more now than it was back then. Because back then, it's all like rainbows and sunshine.
But boss, 3 years of not getting a part is a long time also.
Yes, it is. But I would keep doing workshops. There would be like little work that you would keep getting, and that keeps you going. You would do a music video, you would do an advertisement here and there. Until this
what did the parents say in the mean? Nobody said come back.
They were like, if you want to come back, you can. But there was never like give up.
It's great, actually.
So there was a lot of, now that I think about it, like just to believe that it will happen.
No, that means they believed in you. They were giving you a chance.
Yeah, so for them, it was never a question of like how. It was a question of when. And I think that really was a...
So, Mardaani ka kahani.
So, Mardaani ka kahani ye tha that I got a call from Shanu Sharma, who's the casting director at YRF, to say that we're auditioning for this part. They don't reveal details. They don't say you're going to be cast opposite Rani Mukherjee or what the details are. They just send you the sides, the scene, and say come and do this. And so I gave that audition, and I think 500 people were called. And then like a reality show, but without like it being telecast, you wait 2 weeks and then they tell you it's been brought down to 100. To 50, to 10, to 5, and then I was down to the final 3. And that audition was in front of the director, the writer, and the casting director. And and all 3 of us looked very different. So it was like either they have no idea what they want, or they're just like shopping to see which one fits. And then I remember in that round, they gave us a surprise scene to say, this is the scene.
On the
have
spot.
Half an hour to prep it and do it. And they also, like maybe to boost our confidence, but it really got me worked up, is told us at that point that Rani Mukherjee is doing the part. And so we give the audition, and then I don't hear from them for 2 weeks. And just like the past 3 years, I just assumed that, okay, here's another one.
But you came all the way down to 3 from 500.
3. To be fair, I was coming down to the final 3 or 5 for a couple of auditions before, which is why I was on the radar of the big production houses and the big casting directors. And I just assumed that this is another one that hasn't worked out. And then I finally get a call from Shanu at some 11 at night one night to say, hey, am I speaking to Walt, which was the name of the character? And then it was just like tears of like, oh shit, like this is happening. Because
unfortunately, you didn't have your Insta moment where someone recorded it, no?
Yeah.
This things are be replayed.
Yeah, there was no Insta, but I'm tearing up right now.
Oh, it's beautiful, bro. It's a great moment. So all that freaking shit you did, Melbourne, NDTV, Barry John before that. And then you finally have a moment after so many years, it becomes worth it.
And, I think in the moment when big shit happens to you, there's just there's such an adrenaline rush, and there's such a haze of like, I've got to get this right, and there's stress that you don't realize that you're living like a really valuable point in your life, in your this thing. But talking about it now, 10 years, it feels like a special turning point, because I went from the guy who had to say, hi, I'm the 20 to 25-year-old to, oh, that's Tahir from Mardaani. And that's the biggest thing that any performer can
It's a huge
ask for.
opening, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And change his life. We'll take a break and then come back and discuss his sex life.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. So we'll keep it short.
Yes.
Hello! It's been another great week on IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus chats with iconic Ila Arun, the voice of Choli Ke Piche. Ila shares stories from her journey in music to her candid autobiography. On A Century of Stories, Kunal takes us back to 1984 to uncover the magic of My Dear Kuttichatan, India's first 3D film. On Compounding Mindset, Ashton shares how diversification and spreading your investments can build a strong and healthy portfolio. Folks, if you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you are listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on YouTube by their show names. So do look out them and have fun watching. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors of this week: IDFC First Bank, Axis Mutual Fund, SBI Mutual Fund, ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, and IndusInd Bank.
Okay, back here. Tahir is telling us about his life. He set the big time in Mardaani against one of the great actresses of India, actually, ever. And that's his opening in Bollywood, really, his big opening. And then he's going to take us through what happens next. So now you're known.
Now
you got
I'm
a lot of
known.
critical acclaim.
Yeah, it was an unusual debut because it was a part of an antagonist. And it was differently mounted from regular Bollywood antagonists, because he was like a charming boy next door. He looked cool. He could be like your boyfriend or brother or whatever, but he used to run an underground drug and prostitution trafficking gang, which to me sounded like really cool, because in those days I was watching stuff like True Detectives and Breaking Bad, and I was like, wow, this is like, it's really,
Regular guys do bad things.
Regular guys
Yeah.
do bad things.
Yeah.
And so the media slotted it as an anti-hero, which to me was very interesting. The challenge thereafter became every part that comes to you is the same stuff. So now you're like drugs, gang leader, biker, whatever. But I then got a part with Nandita Das's film called Manto opposite Nawazuddin Siddiqui, which ended up going to Cannes. And a lot of directors and producers saw that. And that was different because it was I was playing a Bollywood superstar from the 50s, Sham Chadda.
Is he based on anyone?
Yes, the real Sham Chadda. He had like 3 or 4 really amazing hits, and then unfortunately died in a horse riding stunt when he was like touted to be one of like the top 3 at the time. But for me, it was like the lure of like just acting with Nawaz, because he was doing amazing stuff at that point. And off the back of that came a film called Chhichhore with Nitesh Tiwari, who had just done Dangal, and then 83 with Kabir Khan. And so I was very fortunate in a very short span of time to pack in these like amazing directors and co-stars to be working with, and very diverse parts. So there was like this crime drama with Mardaani. There was a biopic with Manto. 83 was this fun college film. 83 was sports biopic. Chhichhore was a fun college film. And then the OTT scene.
And none of the characters are remotely the same also.
They're not the same.
Yeah.
In fact, like one of my, I read this somewhere. To
2
say
are based
that
on real characters.
2 are based on real characters, yeah.
It's also a tough thing
Yeah.
because you have footage of, I'm presuming, Sham Chadda, and of course Sunil Gavaskar is very much there. So you've got
More
that.
so for someone like Sunny sir, because he's so there.
He's
in the
relevant,
public
he's there.
eye,
Yeah.
And there's 2 things that the country loves. It's films and cricket. And so there was bound
One more
to
thing.
be...
We have 1.4 billion.
Yeah.
3 cheeses.
Yeah. Yes, one more thing. That
Everyone's
we
not
should-
having sex alone like me.
Yes, exactly.
Trust me.
Haven't
Me
you
and
been
Abhi sir.
married a while now? Like, is
That's why we're alone. Like, sun. 30 saal. He doesn't know anything. Yeah. So sorry. So Sunny he comes to the shoot would put a lot of pressure, right? Because or would he not interfere? I'm wondering, because if somebody's playing you, there's always somewhere in your head you're going to say.
My only request to Kabir sir was that let me not be doing the cricketing parts when Sunil Gavaskar is sitting on the monitor, because there's as it is pressure of like doing that film and the kind of great performers we had on set. But then to have the legend watching was a bit of pressure. So he was there mostly in the more acting scenes where it was more about body language. And it was one of those films where everyone from my parents' generation called me and said, "Will you get his walk?"
The walk is
because
the waddle. The waddle, that swag.
And you know, when because it was shot so realistically, Kabir Khan being from a documentary background, is if a scene was shot at the Oval, we shot at the Oval. We were at Lord's. And even in 2022, being the kids that we were with the exposure that we had, we were in awe of those stadiums. And I can only imagine what it was like going there in the 80s.
My God,
from India back in the time and, giving it your all and winning. My respect for what they did
that
for
team,
sport.
You're a bit younger than me, but that team is the team for my generation. Like, it changed everything. Self-belief for Indians. You talk about not just from sport. And I think if you look back when they do a documentary on us as a people, 83 spirals everything.
Everything.
In the 90s boom and 2000 plus.
Just India's identity, I think,
exactly.
by and large.
You say it better because of Melbourne education. But St. Xavier's gaya tha. We don't have space to park cars.
Right, And when you see cards of like what they used to get paid for the match, they weren't even doing it for like great money. It was like just for the love of the sport.
Many of them, many cricketers from that generation have not done well also financially. Won't get into it, but it's they're absolutely playing for the country. And without half the pitches weren't what they're like today. Nothing.
And this is all knowledge from 83, by the way. I'm not a cricket
no, but I love cricket. We can do the whole 2 hours of podcast now on this. And 83
No, but also no helmet. So Sunil Gavaskar had no helmet.
He wouldn't wear it, but it had come in by then.
It had, yeah.
But you know his story, right? You know that. So he would wear that skull cap, which he, because we Maharashtrians don't like to spend money, yaar. So he decided, hey, beta, he put one plastic thing inside the hat and he, and then his doctor told him one day that if he got hit with the ball there, the plastic would have gone into his head and would have been far more dangerous. Yeah.
Also, he came up with this
arm guard and all that.
Arm guard, But just someone who made me comfortable.
Greatest Indian batsman of all time, for me.
I agree.
So that was a huge thing you're playing.
Because I read all of his biographies and the kind of the odds that they were playing against, I think, and the kind of bowlers.
You could bowl as many bouncers in over. Did people bounce to you when you were training?
They did. They actually had Malcolm Marshall's son bowling.
I saw that.
So it was quite incredible.
That run up, diagonal run up. Yeah.
So it was just like an iconic project. I could not say no to it because if a film of that scale
had live forever.
Made, it's like one of those projects that happened once in a lifetime.
So what did he say at the end of at the premiere? What did Sunny say to you, or when he saw the film?
I think the biggest compliment was he said you reminded me of me back in the time, and he had he was misty-eyed, which is very unusual for him. But I think such a charmer. Like he made me.
Oh, he's very charming.
He made me, and when you meet someone who you've been studying a lot about, I started started regurgitating his life facts to him. He said, you did this, you did that. And then I realized that he must have looked at me like this guy is like... But he made me feel very comfortable doing the part. And I realized that there was a lot of without trying to be stylish, there was a lot of style in him back then.
He had a lot of swag. A little West Indian about him.
Swag is the right word.
Swag, very much. Because there's super confidence. Ultimately, he knew how good he was. There comes from a generation which never brags, so they'll never say that, but he was fantastic.
Also from stuff I've read, I heard that he wouldn't really enjoy net practice a whole lot. Like he would just go out there and do it, and that's just crazy.
Well, I think he practiced, but he would not sleep the night before. Which I found incredible that you could bat for 6 hours after that. In hot conditions and all that with no sleep. I mean, after marriage, this happens to me, and I don't get to bat either. But what a guy. Fantastic. And what a time it was, 83. But let's move on to, is it Kaali Kaali Ankhein?
Yes, it's called Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein.
Which is
it is trending on number 1 on Netflix
apparently,
at the moment.
I didn't want to say that, but that is correct,
So, I mean, that for me was big because it was my segue into doing romantic leads, which
you've not done, actually.
Which I hadn't done.
Which is where you should have been cast. I'm just looking at you and thinking, at this age and whatever. No, I'm not coming on to you yet.
I mean, we'll save that. Vaseline chupa do, please.
Vaseline की जरूरत नहीं है. I'm quite wet, beta.
Oh shit.
So tell us about the show.
So Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein is interesting because I've not done romantic leads before, and this is a love triangle, and it's interesting because
forced marriage, right? If I remember,
there's a politician's daughter who's obsessively in love with my character, and I love someone else. And the reason to me it was interesting is because in our films, whenever you've shown obsessive love, it's always a guy lusting after the woman, and then that is romanticized. Here it was like gender reversal, but also very cleverly, it's very tongue in cheek, and it's an ode to sensational, dramatic 90s writing writing, which is why the title of Yeh Kaali Kaali
Yeh
Ankhein.
Kaali Kaali. Oh, you can't even sing it, no? There's a copyright.
Is there copyright? Right.
Apparently, there are all kinds of copyrights now with music from Hindi films.
Yeah.
They're very careful.
But I'm pretty sure the show has the rights to
I'm sure they bought it, but can we sing it now?
Oh, that is a question.
Because we are outside the perimeter. Maybe you can.
I could. But yeah, so it was just interesting because when season 1 came, you get on set hoping that what you've signed up for does well, but then it just exploded. It was like 3 times better than anything that I had imagined, and it's rare especially in today's day for a. You're saying? No,
I just want to interrupt you a second to ask. But your character is like a victim.
He is a victim
in all this, right?
Yeah, he's a bit of an underdog, and who then has to, in season 2, takes the reins in his own hands
and changes.
And then yes,
personality.
He does change. So
are we allowed to
yes,
give away
I mean it's been on for a
yeah.
while now. So he goes slightly into the darker side because it's in a kill or be killed kind of scenario.
Isn't that interesting that you have a character whose graph changes?
Yeah.
That really happens actually for an actor to
it's the most interesting thing about OTT is because you get to live with a character a little longer. You have like 8 episodes to tell the story. If you go into a season 2, you can then change the
That's
graph.
true. It's like The Sopranos. I love The Sopranos because there's so much.
Yeah.
After something, you realize they're lucky enough to give you so much that the characters are clear.
Yeah.
Right? As against 2 hours to get the whole thing across.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty spoiled for choice after that because here not only is there so much over episodes, but there's also every time there are silences, there's a monologue that the audience hears, so you hear what the character's thinking. So the entire show is through his head, and that's a responsibility and fun at the same time because he's constantly thinking something else, doing something else, and saying something completely different, which is very interesting. And you're right about stuff like Sopranos. There's also something called The Wire, which is amazing. And Breaking Bad, of course,
Breaking Bad is the only one I haven't seen. I know everybody loves it and all that.
You have to check out Breaking Bad.
Drugs isn't my thing, bro.
Oh, it isn't?
Yeah.
How do you get those biceps?
Oh, those kind of drugs I love. No, but to cut a long story short, in the show, if you go to the second season, do you get to talk to the writers as well? How does that work?
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say, do you get more money? We can talk about that later.
What? You don't get more money? Of course you get more money.
Yeah,
you don't get more money?
Yeah, exactly. Talk to the manager.
It's like when you win Wimbledon, then you get paid more for the second, or when you win a heavyweight boxing thing.
I love that argument. I'm going to use it if there is a season 3. Yeah.
Bro, what are you saying? Once you reach it, then you look at all the great American sitcoms like Seinfeld and all that, or Friends. From the first year to the last year, look at the difference in pay.
There should be.
They become executive producers. They own equity.
Yeah.
They basically own the show by the 10th season. Brother, if this goes into season 5, you have to be the sole proprietor.
I should. That is the...
Daddy ko phone kar.
That is the target. Yeah.
Film City gone. Won't take much.
But you were saying, do you
interfere with the writing and all that? Because now the character, has obviously got long legs.
I'm not interfering, but I'm in touch with them. So if it's being written over a period of a year, they will at some point during the 6-month mark, they will tell you this is the direction. It's actually a one-man
Who's the writer?
thing. Siddharth Sen Gupta, and there's
it's a Bengali.
But he's a Delhi Bengali.
He's a Delhi Bengali. He sold out, yeah. Say something, Toto.
And Saurabh Shukla, who's actor and story consultant.
The one and only.
Yeah. So they keep in touch with you, let you know that this is the general direction. But the final script with Siddharth Sen Gupta, you get on the day when you're...
you don't get it before?
No, you get the full script, but there are always...
dialogues you get later.
Yeah, changes happen all the time for the good. Like, he's always improvising based on the situation.
I thought by the second or third season, you'd probably be having your track very clear from your side also. Because it's now part of you.
As in, mere ko ye chahiye.
Because if you look at Sopranos and all, I think by as they go on, they start having more interest in the actual characters. Where in the first season, it's you're just an actor coming to the set.
Yeah, but what definitely happened by the second season was it was a lot more collaborative. Where because I had lived with the character as long as he had, one could say that this is how the character would do it. What do you think? And he was very generous with, okay, throw some ideas at me. Maybe 3 out of the 5 he'll reject, but at least he'll listen.
It's like this. They gave birth to the character, but then you are the character.
Yeah.
So the character is successful, then they no longer... It's like, your child is grown now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can't control the child anymore.
Yeah.
So calm down, Sen Gupta. Know your place.
Shit.
I'm kidding. Is he a very senior guy?
He's pretty senior. Been around 20 years. So
he's 25.
By Bombay standards, that's
today's star
means.
talent. All right, before we go into the AMA, so what's up next?
There are interesting
whatever you
things.
can talk about.
Yeah, and unfortunately, none of them are at the announcement stage.
But you can give us a general view. OTT?
OTT and film both.
So you're
but
doing
these
both at the same
days-
time?
Yeah, I feel it's like a great time to be an actor because you can
that's true.
have like one foot in each.
Yeah. How do the parents feel about this Mardaani onwards? What do they feel when they come and watch your stuff, or now things that they can watch? Their friends will be sending them messages, etc. How do they feel? What do you think?
Super proud, I think. But also they've been a massive support because, I mean, show business, it's always glossy on the outside, but then it's a constant, there are highs and lows. The highs are high, but then, the lows can be. So they've been a big support through it all. And I think when something like a Yeh Kaali Kaali or a Chhichhore comes out and they hear from their own friends, it just like makes them more proud. And very often when you're in promotions or in podcasts, you're thinking, I've done so many of these. Who's watching? I know my mom's watching. So she's watching on her
Bro, I'm a big
65
believer
inch.
that parents or the support system of people around you in the beginning make you.
And that's really, honestly, what's kept me sane is because of my bunch of friends and all the same from
So 20% has to go back to the friends and family.
Oh, right. We're bringing in a cut. Yes. First, I think we have to ask for the 20% raise. And then...
What is going on?
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking
know.
to his manager.
Yeah.
What kind of managing is this?
We should, yeah.
The moment it goes into the second season, he has to go boom through the roof.
I agree. May the people...
How many
at the
characters can
platform
they
be
kill
hearing
off?
this.
Call all the main characters and say, boss, we won't come on the set. They
Yeah.
can't kill off 7 characters, yeah.
Exactly.
What are they going to do?
We should,
Think.
organize, mutiny.
You just need a union leader.
We do.
And luckily, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm free.
Nice.
All right, we're going to go to the AMAs. There's lots coming up with Tahir, but he can't tell us, but we'll know on OTT and features. And if there's anything else, no marriage or anything.
No marriage on the cards yet.
But there is someone?
Possibly.
Oh, awkward silence means there is a girl?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Just remember, if there isn't anyone, this stays on air for 30 years.
Forever, yeah.
And then the next one will be like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, and who is she? Yeah.
Oh, you should have watched this one.
I should have said no one at the moment.
I'll give it take two. Take two. Is there anyone?
No, unfortunately. I'm looking and,
now, if you marry this girl, you're
oh,
screwed,
shit.
man.
This is like damned if you do, damned if you don't, man. Yeah.
Okay. This is from your fans. We'll do maybe 3. So Bruce Wayne, you've heard of him. Can you talk a little about Chhichhore? Actually, we didn't talk enough about that. How was the audition process? So now there's still an audition process. Your established name?
There wasn't an audition, but what Nitesh Tiwari wanted to do was do a screen test where he
audition here?
No, audition is where you're against like 10 other people. This is where it's the director and you, and you're reading the part, and he tells you more about your character. And it was interesting because I wasn't sure in the beginning whether I wanted to. So I gave my reservations because the casting people called and said it's a hero and 5 friends, and that doesn't sound right to me. But then the film wasn't that when I read it and heard it. It was like each friend had almost like an individual identity, and they all come together in the end for this one mission. And that's what was really interesting. And for me, it was also a big segue into just playing these hard-ass alpha male characters into this boy with a heart who was part of a college gang.
But when they call you for a screen test, that means you've got the role?
That means they want you on board. Yeah.
Okay, so mostly you've got the role, but just in case last minute about the look, whatever, and they have to check.
The director says something like, you need to lose 5 kilos, you need to work on this,
Fuck you
need to this. Yeah, but with Nitesh Tiwari, you probably don't go that route.
It's dangerous.
No, I mean, just like super.
He's a Mardaani character, is it?
He's done Dangal before that.
Oh,
so
wow.
also really, really nice.
Lost
really
2
nice
females
person.
in wrestling.
Yes.
That's his story.
But just some side trivia. Also, the first film that I ever saw on the big screen was a film called Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, which was a college film about competition, and Chhichhore just had so much. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Chhichhore's got like college and
tribute,
competition and a lot of that. So it was just a nice.
This was the first adult film you saw.
Which was the first adult film. It was like on an adult website, obviously, because like that's when the...
Oh, you're lucky you had the website, not the video cassette generation.
Yeah, not the video cassette.
Mine was Debbie Does Dallas. What a show.
Yeah.
I want to recreate that movie. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. But mine, the frustrating thing with the internet those days was it was that dial-up this thing. So it used to be so slow. So it would like start... So can you imagine you're in the middle of watching and it starts buffering. Then it's like
it was still happening around our time. Don't worry. Harvespa is asking, how challenging was it to portray the legendary, we've discussed this to death almost, Sunil Gavaskar in 83. Did you get to speak with him? How did you tackle embodying the little master despite being taller than him? Let's do the last part. You're much taller than him.
So, interesting thing, they figured that when I stood with the others, they gave everyone else heels.
Okay.
So comparatively, when you see people on camera, they look taller than I am, and so automatically I look shorter, which was.
I think Yashpal Sharma, Madan Lal, not that tall, but Vengsakar, Sandeep Patil, Ravi Shastri, Kapil Dev, all 6 footers.
And I got a few stinkers on set because they had to then bowl and field in those heels because I had
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
why?
Every time they stood in frame next to me, they had to be in
This question you have to ask Kabir, but then what did he see? He just saw your face and said, "This is Sunil Gavaskar." How does that work?
You'd have to ask him.
Yeah,
But he'd watched Manto, which was also a period film, so possibly something over there.
That's quite a lift from one of the great writers in that time to one of the great opening batsmen.
Especially when I admitted to him that I'm not a professional.
But I think you're being modest. I think you played a little cricket.
Gully cricket.
So you can play.
So when I went to this coaching, Balwinder Singh Sandhu was our coach. I was told I was holding the bat wrong my entire life.
How?
So because to play gully cricket, you don't have to have perfect technique.
Yeah, but you held it up like Sachin.
Yeah. So that was okay, to put it fair, I wasn't holding it like Gavaskar. So there was the things
more orthodox elbow, everything.
All of it.
Yeah.
But when you go into the intricacies of the game to that extent, your respect for when you're watching it now just goes up that much more. And how easily people have opinions when they watch it to say, I could have played it better.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Who
you
said
couldn't
that?
have. You probably wouldn't have been able to see the ball.
Your dad's friends all may have had something to say, no? Because they've all grown up, I'm presuming, on watching the 80s cricketers, etc.
Yeah,
so did they say anything to you?
They were just all so excited about the part, and that is the.
Did they call you Sonny and all after that?
They did, yeah, some of them. Yeah. But it is unanimously, like with the younger generation, it's always Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein or Chhichhore. But for that generation, it's always like they watched 83 and Sunil Gavaskar.
The first time that one of our greats has been. All the greats, many of them are greats of the.
It was a beautiful moment when we had the screening, the preview for the film, because my parents came down and Kabir sir invited the real original team, and they were all sitting in the back row. And when the film in a premiere ends, normally what you do is everyone stands up, the director stands in front, and you applaud. But here everyone stood up, turned around to the original team, and clapped for them, and it was that felt special.
There you go. And till today, Sunny and him stay in touch. Go to play cricket in Shivaji Park early mornings. No?
Definitely in touch. But when he's not traveling, he's constantly, every time I text him, he's like, I'm in Australia, I'm in London.
On another level.
Yeah.
They just keep working and it's almost like they're the same age.
Next level energy, yeah.
Unbelievable, really. Last one. Stark says, your role in Mardaani was unforgettable. How was the experience of playing such a dark character and did it leave any after effects? Again, we'll just take the last bit because you've discussed it. Yeah. What after effects? Does that happen when you do these hard characters? You need to erase them.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I never saw it as a dark character because the acting school 101 is never judge your own characters. So you find like a human reason for playing it. And one of my favorite sayings is it's never good versus evil, it's always good versus good. Which basically means
your good is different from my good.
My good, yeah. So, I mean, simple example, if you watch The Joker before you watch The Dark Knight, you will empathize a little bit with the Joker because now you know his...
Did he start shooting Robert De Niro in that one scene that was scary, bro? Sorry to give it away.
Yeah. But to answer the last part of the question, it does take about 2 or 3 weeks. I either like cut off and travel or spend more time with friends, watch more comedies, because otherwise you can like really very quickly down spiral if you're just stuck in that world.
Also, people will come and tell you about it, no? Because it's trending or it's just released, and then everyone will be talking about your character to you, friends, family, and strangers.
Yeah.
So you can't get out of your system completely because you'll have to keep discussing it.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially now with OTT and social media, people talk to you as if you are the character. To say, why did you do this? You could have done that.
Your fault.
Your fault. And then you have to sort of politely remind them that it's all scripted, but it's also
You must always begin with the words you choose.
Yeah.
I find that really carries a lot of power.
And it'll definitely go viral. So it's a good way to get those eyeballs. But it's also validating to an extent because you know that people are that invested. Like, that they believed it so much that they think
the moment they come to talk to you, you know that you've done well.
Yeah.
Even if they're trying to be critical or trying to point out something, the fact is they're interested. Interested gives everything away.
Exactly.
I think people can't deny it.
Yeah.
So don't ignore me.
Bottom of the story, bottom line.
It hurts. All right, this has been wonderful, Tahir. If there's anything else you want to talk about, you won't talk about the girls in your life. Girls. But
we can chat about that when we cut.
Offline.
Yeah.
But marriage is a long way off, right? I'm presuming you're now hitting some big straps in your career. So
yeah, marriage it's not on the cards. I just believe that when it has to happen, it will.
Oh, is that no mom-dad pressure? Nothing like that?
None at all. No.
Yeah. I think you got very cool parents, bro. You're very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, off and on, my mom will ask, like, what's going on. But, like, besides that...
I'm saying all this. I hope it stays so that she watches it and then says, Beta, we need to talk.
We need to talk, yeah.
Let him suffer, yaar.
Yeah.
Why should we be the only ones?
Moral of the story, let me suffer. Don't forget him.
Yeah, just join the shame. No, I'm just kidding. Can be great. Tahir, thank you so much for being here.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Absolutely. And now we'll end with our birdie dance.
I love languages. When I was in school, I studied French and I studied some Japanese.
So French you studied as a language to do exam with, or you just did it as a...
Okay. Yeah, like for about
so you can write
5-6 years. Yeah, I can write and read French. And Japanese, there's one script
that I
can
Can you talk in Marathi with a French accent? Just if you have to say, like, Kunal Vijayakar is the most beautiful male I've ever met.
Kunal Vijayakar is très bien, खूप सुंदर माणूस आहे. Kunal आणि
Me Marathi!
Croissant.
I love this.
Croissant खायला गेलो होतो. Not bad. For those who don't know, Malaika and Cyrus were on the show called MTV Love Line, and they would solve people's relationship
I won't say we solve, we try.
I felt like they were planted.
No, they weren't planted.
But I really enjoyed it. And like Malaika and you, both of you, all the banter that you guys also did was super fun.
She's great fun.
Yeah,
people don't understand. All my friends used to tell me, Malaika, so lucky, she's so sexy. But 5 days working with Malaika, and it's not a sexy thing anymore.
But I think being fun is sexy.
I say this in the nicest way. She's like a boy. We sit there and all we do is bitch. The Arora sisters are fantastic.